maybe you haven't had a chance to catch up with the big news, but the Big 12's lost a couple teams. Again, in case that hasn't gotten your way yet. Yeah, Texas, Oklahoma gone. What's that do to the rest of the conference? Well, much speculation out there. We're going to take the Texas Tech angle on today here at the Voice of College Football with Jack Bell. You can catch him and the rest of the staff there at Viva La Matadors there at SB Nation. Jack, how are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Mark?
I am good. All right. So your football world kind of flipped on its ear about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, something in that range. I think it was actually a Thursday, and we're recording on a Thursday. I think it was 2 weeks ago when the big news came out, and it was pretty well confirmed within the next 24 hours. So that leaves 8 of the 10 in the Big 12. And obviously the two biggest brands with the most money, facilities, all that business are leaving at some point. And so your thoughts about Texas Tech in regards to what have you heard? What do you think's feasible? What do you think? We've heard all sorts of rumors, but what do you think could be the landing spot?
Well, that's no doubt. The rumors have been flying as of late. The one that seemed to have gained the most steam in Lubbock, at least, is out west to the Pac-12. And especially in these last couple of days with the Pac-12 and Big 12 commissioners meeting for talks and everything. So those are pretty much the hot rumors right now. I like the Pac-12 personally. A lot of people in Lubbock like the Pac-12. We had great interactions just in this past baseball super regional with Stanford coming in, and we had a good time there. And we like to think we get along with everyone in Lubbock, but some people it's a little harder to get along with Tech fans than some others, I think.
And also there have been a number of bowl games played against the Pac-12. I believe there have been some regular season games scheduled here in the last 5 years or so. Arizona State, some of those teams as well. And so considering the circumstances and considering the alarm that has gone off in 8 campuses there in the Big 12 and what could possibly happen, a landing spot in the Pac-12 wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Absolutely not. I think pretty much everyone in Lubbock would be very welcoming to that, no doubt.
Good stuff. We got Jack Bell on the line from Viva La Matadors. You can catch him and the rest of the crew there covering Texas Tech athletics on SB Nation. All right, breaking down the 2021 team. You got Matt Wells coming in, of course, from Utah State. This is his 3rd season. The first 2 seasons, not necessarily what he or anybody expected to a certain extent. I think it really underlines Mike Leach's success. I don't know that people really realize what he accomplished there. 5 of his last 6 teams finished ranked. And so if you would throw out to the typical college football fan across the nation and say Texas Tech is going to finish in the top 25, 5 of the next 6 years, that would be a bit of a surprise to a lot of people. And he was able to accomplish that. Of course, Tommy Tuberville, Cliff Kingsbury since then. And now we got Matt Wells, who did a nice job at Utah State. What is the barometer in regards to the fan base's feelings about Matt Wells and the job he's done?
I have seen both sides of the coin. The fan base is kind of split right now. There's a certain amount of us that are in the win now or win at all costs. And then there are a few people that, want to give them the full amount of time, kind of like they did with Kingsbury. I think Kingsbury got the benefit of the doubt because obviously he was an alum and played quarterback for Texas Tech. So Matt Wells, a lot more people in Lubbock are actually coming around to Matt Wells the longer he's been in. This team for 2021 has a lot of promise, and a lot of people in Lubbock are talking, and a lot of people in Lubbock have high hopes for this season for sure.
Jack Bell on the line from SB Nation. It's Viva La Matadors on SB Nation. Texas Tech football coverage with, of course, fall camp underway. All right, so let's start with the quarterback situation. Alan Bowman, 33 touchdowns, 17 picks in his stay in Lubbock, moves on to Michigan. That is a head scratcher to me to a certain extent, considering that when he was healthy, he was typically winning the quarterback battle and on the field, and then he goes to Michigan, and who knows what's going to happen. But that aside, you got Tyler Shook coming in from Oregon. So, Jack, I think that the average college football fan looking at the Texas Tech situation just assumes Tyler Shook played in the Fiesta Bowl, was a 4-star to Oregon. Now that he's got a season of experience, obviously he's the starter, but that's not necessarily the case, right?
Well, we heard today from Matt Wells and Sonny Cumbie as well, and both have said that there is, in fact, a starting quarterback battle. They're not ready to name a starter yet, and I think all of that, you have to give credit where it's due to Henry Colombi for keeping it close. I for one thought that Shuck would be the starter out of spring ball. Just because of, like you said, all the starts at Oregon, took him to a Pac-12 title game, the Fiesta Bowl, all that. But, it's still not for sure, not official yet.
Shook threw 13 touchdowns, 6 picks last year, and Cumbie has a lot of experience going back to his days at Utah State. Looking at the running back situation, it's a pretty stacked deck, starting with Sir Roderick Thompson in regards to a lot of talent and a lot of experience coming back.
So Roderick Thompson is one of the best running backs in my mind in the Big 12. I think you could slot him behind Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall from UT and Iowa State, respectively. So Roderick Thompson is a big, burly back, and over the spring, he's kind of been rehabbing that shoulder injury. He had surgery on it in the offseason, but they've kind of been working on him running through in between the tackles a lot more. He's more prone to bounce it to the outside. But they've been working with him, and they feel like he's got a lot better stats running in between the tackles this season as well.
And then you mentioned the news concerning fall camp here, and the big news is that Eric Ezukanma will be back on the field. Of course, he was knocked out early in the spring practice, caught 46 balls, 6 touchdowns last year, so that's a huge lift.
Absolutely. He will be the top receiver. They're kind of scratching for some support pieces. The receivers have a lot of talent with some freshmen and the COVID freshmen, COVID sophomores, but there's a lot of talent there. And it seems to be whoever's going to step up. A lot of people are looking for the Troy transfer, Kalen Geiger, to step up big time. And a lot of people, including Matt Wells and Sonny Cumbie, sounded like today that he's all for sure but a starter coming this fall.
And then we look at the offensive line, and 84 career starts coming back. So a lot of experience there.
A lot of experience, no depth. So the thing is, if one of these guys goes down, it might get a little hairy for Tech as soon as one of these guys goes down. Not saying that'll happen. Don't wish it to happen. But if something goes wrong, they're going to be scratching, clawing for someone to step in.
So as we transition to the defense, one last note on the offense is certainly that Sonny Cumbie running the offense. You've got a recent history, meaning decades of offensive firepower, especially in the passing game. Mike Leach is the first name that comes to mind, but even beyond him. And it's actually been the defense has been the better side of the ball. The offense, would you expect after a couple of years under Matt Wells, in which it's been not as productive as what the standard is, to be better this season?
I think a lot of Tech fans are. That's the expectation, absolutely. Now that David Yost is gone and Sonny Cumbie comes in and takes that role as the offensive coordinator, a lot of people are looking for big-time returns from that. You like the way Shuck fits in the offense because if you remember, Sonny Cumbie a few years back had a lot of good success with the dual threat quarterback, and Shuck has shown at times that he can run around a little bit. So it's kind of a mixed bag between whether are you gonna go full dual threat, or are you gonna sit back and do the traditional air raid that Tech fans are used to.
Got Jack Bell on the line from SB Nation's Viva La Matadors. That's the Texas Tech site. So check out his work as, of course, the Red Raiders get set for the 2021 season, hoping to improve on 4-6. All right, looking at the defense, I'm sure you hear this all the time, especially when you interact with people outside the Big 12, that they just figure, well, Texas Tech is winning and losing games 55-50 every week. And that's not necessarily, that's a stereotype that was built on reality, but that hasn't necessarily been the case. You do the team does care to tackle people and cover people, and it's a pretty good defense. So we'll start up front. You got your three top tacklers back, and then I see Julius Coates coming in from Arkansas.
Yeah, the overall theme of this defense this year is going to be transfers. Keith Patterson and Matt Wells have hit the transfer portal hard. You got guys coming in up front. Robert Wooten from Virginia Tech, that's recent. They're looking for him to be a big piece as a defensive end coming in up front. And like you have throughout the defense, really, you have a lot of transfers coming in that are going to play a lot of snaps. And it's going to be a very experienced defense, one of the older defenses in the Big 12. But it's going to be a lot of talent that's not typically your simple recruits just coming straight to Texas Tech. It's going to be a lot of players via the transfer portal.
Yeah, I see Josiah Pierre coming in from Florida at the linebacker unit, which would you think that that's the best position group on the team?
I might be a little biased, but I would say that not just the best group on the team. I would say that these linebackers could possibly be the best linebacking unit in the conference. And I know that's a big thing to say coming from, like you said, a Tech school that wins games 55-50. But the linebackers are very experienced. You have 4 seniors and or maybe even 5 seniors and a couple of juniors that are logging serious snaps. You have people like Rico Jeffers and Colin Schooler, who are just out of this world talented, very physical guys. You have Jacob Morgenstern, who transferred in from Duke. And you have people like Krishawn Merriweather, who led the Red Raiders in tackles last year, transferred in from Garden City Community College. So the linebackers are, in my opinion, the best group on the field for sure.
And then looking at the secondary, that's probably the unit based on my review of the two sides of the football that got in the most transfers. So, and we're not just talking about guys that sat at the end of the bench or just were on the roster. Guys from Duke, UCLA, Wisconsin, North Carolina State, and I counted up like 50 plus starts out of these guys at 4 big time programs.
Absolutely. There is a lot of hype around the secondary as well. Malik Dunlap, as you mentioned, from North Carolina State's getting a lot of attention right now for his big frame. It's more like a safety frame. He stands about 6'3", 215, but right now he's athletic enough to play corner. So that's what they're having him do. Tech is going to have a hard time filling in the hole that Zach McPherson left after last year. He had 4 picks, which led the team by far. I think the next person had 1. So it's pretty much all of your interceptions as a team went to the draft and went to the Philadelphia Eagles. You have people, your opposite corner is DeMarcus Fields. He's going to start. He'll be the for sure other corner. Then you have people like I said, Malik Dunlap's going to come in, Rashad Williams from UCLA, Reggie Pearson Jr. from Wisconsin. All these guys are very experienced, very talented guys. Marquise Waters from Duke is a huge get, was their top safety for the past 2 years. And he's already made a splash on campus, and the coaches like what he's doing as a leader in the spring camps and over the summer workouts and everything.
So, Jack, no doubt they plug some holes. I'm going to take the flip side of that argument because, it's a good thing to get in all this experience. And again, you talk about a guy playing at Wisconsin for a full season as a starter. Well, he's playing on one of the top 5 or 10, 15 defenses in the country. So it means something. Again, on the flip side, everybody's getting in transfers. But
Right.
this seems to be pretty heavy based on, I'm looking at teams every day from all over the country. And the flip side of that argument is, it's a stopgap. You really need to build the team based on the recruiting out of high school. And so that would be a possible downside.
Right. And, there's no guarantee that all these guys are going to get together and mesh. And I think that's your biggest worry as a coach. You're hitting the transfer portal hard, and Matt Wells and company have done it very well. And like you said, over 50 starts combined from these guys. But are they going to mesh? This is the time that, summer workouts, fall camp, this is where you find out. And I think it's going to be very interesting going forward to see if they can make it work.
All right. Good stuff coming in from Jack Bell. Again, you can catch his work and everybody else there at Viva La Matadors. It's been a long time since we've been able to track down anybody covering Texas Tech. So, Jack, appreciate you stopping by.
Absolutely. Anytime, Mark. It's good to talk.